All right, Binanceans, thanks for joining us again on this week's Binance Beach. This is a pretty special one this week as we recap the Australian crypto convention that happened last week in Sydney. And this is going to be a really fun app. I've got Dave from the Australian Crypto Convention, the founder, the visionary, joining us. And as well, we have Orlando, the Bintern. And we don't call him that because he's bad. It's just short for Binance Intern. I promise we didn't come up with that because he's not very good. He is very good, and we had a great time at the convention. Welcome, lads. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, mate. Good to be here again.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, man. What a weekend. Like, you've got to be pretty stoked with that, Dave. I mean, we'll jump into the details. We'll do a bit of a breakdown and a play-by-play, but overall, you've got to be pretty happy with the turnout, the convention as a whole. It really was an exceptional showing.
I'm stoked, mate. Honestly, it took a couple of days afterwards for it all to sort of sink in. I mean, in the hype of it all and the heat of it all, and we were talking about it offline just before. The audience sees the show, and we see all the things behind the show, and there's a lot that happens even during that we've got to constantly be on top of. So you don't really, at the time, get to take a step back and then really enjoy what you've built until sort of after it. And once the dust settles is when you really can kind of reflect and say, yeah, this year we did a really great show. So, the team has just put everything behind it, and we're very happy with the result.
You should be. You should definitely be very happy with how it played out. We'll jump into the convention a little bit more. And, of course, Dave, cheers to you, nice. Mate. Well played. We did give away our Binance Stubby Coolers, which was one of the more popular pieces of merch, alongside the T-shirts and the football jerseys, which are always popular too. Let's jump into our Bitcoin price update, as we always do. Let me pull up our chart. Now, last weekend, literally as I woke up on the Saturday and got ready to run into the convention and start organizing everything like a mad chook, we hit new all-time highs when I woke up and when I started breakfast, and then when I finished breakfast and headed for the center. So it was a pretty bullish start to the week. We're down very slightly, consolidating around that 95, kind of 96 level mark. But overall, this is pretty bullish and really positive to see that even with a pullback, we're sitting well above like previous levels. On the ETF side, we saw really strong inflows for the past week. Like, we saw that $1.37 billion net flow day. That was crazy. Another $1 billion day. I think this one is another $1 billion day. That's just wild. Interestingly, maybe some profit taking in between with some net outflows. But overall, there's some really strong buying pressure there, clearly. Saylor continues to buy. Saylor continues to smash buy, and that's great to see. He bought 55,500 Bitcoin for $5.4 billion at an average cost price of 97,862. That is an astronomical purchase. It's absolutely astronomical.
That's insane. The cojones.
It really is. 100%. If you want conviction, you look there. But then we did see a pullback this week too, where we ran down to like 91, 92K, which is, it was almost a 10% pullback, but doesn't feel like that significant a dip in the scheme of things, given where we are. I saw some analysis on this that kind of said longer term holders. I saw some people theorizing it was 2020 and 2021 holders who were now selling for profit, particularly if you bought at the top of the last cycle. You could be 20, 30, 40% up on those purchases, and maybe that's an exit for you. I also saw some analysis showing that it was like 6 to 12 month old wallets that were selling, like taking profit, people who bought after the all-time high in March and potentially again made that 20 to 40% clip, or the 12 months ago, which would have been, I think, around 40K as well. So that was pretty interesting. Adam Back had a really great reply to this particular tweet, which said something like, who are these lettuce hands and why are they selling? So that was pretty classic. And then, just to kick into our alts market as well. ETH finally moving. Nice to see that outperforming the market. XRP had a really strong week, I think, off the continued regulatory updates that are positive for some of those kind of older crypto projects, older DeFi projects. That's cool to see. BNB, a little tip up. Solana had a pullback off all-time highs in the previous week. That's the data, gents. How are you feeling about the market? Do you continue to be bullish as we head into the weekend in Australia?
How can you not be bullish? Honestly, we've seen a big pullback back down to like 90K, and we're already sitting back above, or nearly 97K US as well. So, as fast as it's pulled back, it's gone back up just as quick as well. So I think those profit takers, great, but people are seeing the bigger picture here, and they're buying up all those sell orders.
Absolutely. And it's okay to take profits, of course. But I think when you look at the macro setup right now, it's hard not to be expecting that we might continue to see some bullish price action into the future. Trying to keep that measured for our legal and PR teams. What about you, Orlando? How are you feeling at the moment in regards to the market?
I think you guys took the words right out of my mouth, right? Especially coming off of the ACC, which we'll get into in a second. But the energy there was insane and very, very, very difficult not to feel bullish, right? So excited to see what's going to be unfolding the next couple of weeks coming to the close of the year. But yeah, feeling good, feeling very bullish, and like you said, Liam, we'll leave it at that for PR and legal reasons.
That's for sure. Well, Orlando, maybe I'll start over with you. This was your first Australian crypto convention, and you've just kind of stepped into the industry locally in the last year or so. Man, how did you find it? What were your key takeaways, and what was your personal highlight?
Yeah, for sure. So I think this was, my first large event. I've been to a couple of side ones in Sydney. That's where I'm based, just north of that. And I think this one, it's very fair to say, absolutely blew anything else I've been to out of the water, not just in attendees, but energy levels, right? I've never seen such an excited crowd. I've never seen such a core group of people just really getting around the crypto space like I have, or like last weekend. So it was an amazing experience from that aspect, for sure. I'd say my key takeaway was just how excited people are for the future. There were a lot of new people there, like a lot of guys who are just kind of stepping into crypto with the price action we've seen. Now, they're intrigued, and everyone was so welcoming to them. It was so awesome to see everyone really engaging with those guys, trying to send them off to certain panels, send them off to certain people to talk to. And I think a lot of the new guys especially learned a ton and just saw what a fun and intense industry we're in. It was definitely a very good time.
And how inclusive this community actually is, right? Like, there's a reputation for trolls, and people can be pretty silly on Twitter and say mean things. But when we get into real life meetups and this convention, the community is so welcoming. It's such a great place to be. It has such a positive energy and vibe. It's education focused, and it's all about helping people empower themselves, be that through financial freedom, be that through using any of the other kind of tools or prospective benefits that crypto can have. It's really inspiring. It really is. What about you, Dave? What was your highlight from the weekend? What stood out?
God, how do I pick that? I think for a personal highlight, definitely being able to share the stage with Rachel Conlon was awesome. Seeing her speak and meeting her in person was amazing. Hearing her feedback about the event for me was a really big deal. It's solidified how we already felt about what we built, and for her to say to us that it was one of the best crypto events she's ever been to, coming from somebody that goes to every crypto event around the globe, that was a huge piece of positive feedback for us. So that's definitely a highlight. And then I suppose the diversity of the crowd. So, apart from seeing the whole crowd rush in, which is always my favorite part of the show, seeing everyone rush in and the looks on their faces when they see the build, and I love that part. But the diversity of the crowd this year has been more diverse than any other year. So I did so many different interviews with different media outlets, and one of the things that all of them commented on was the fact that there were were grandparents everywhere. There were children everywhere. There were literally kids talking to exchanges about how to sell their Bitcoin. And it just sort of showcases to me that, like you said, Liam, that the industry is so inclusive and so diverse, and it's there for everyone. It's not just there for people that want to get rich, or, you know, it's there for every single person that wants to be part of it. And that's the whole point of the accessibility of crypto.
Absolutely. And I think the level of financial education that we have in Australia is pretty good, particularly compared to maybe other markets that Rachel might be visiting, which means that those discussions are generally pretty sophisticated. You know, we have a really strong culture of investment in Australia. Like, most people think about property as, like, you know, a dream of asset ownership. A lot of people own stocks. Obviously, super people are people are invested by default there. And I think a good number of people take an active interest. And so you're having really sophisticated conversations, or relatively sophisticated conversations, with people about what this asset class is, why it's important, and why they might consider including it in their portfolio moving forward if they haven't already. And that's really cool. Like, it's not about selling this asset class, selling anything in particular. It's just an educational journey, and that's amazing to be a part of.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. And superannuation was a big topic of discussion over the weekend as well. So we seen it at, you know, a lot of the exchange booths, and then we had some superannuation companies actually exhibiting as well, and they said that they were just absolutely stacked all weekend. So it's a big discussion point for a lot of people now, and I hear about it from, you know, my brother, who was there at the event as well, and he started talking to me about superannuation, and we've never had that discussion as brothers, you know. So for those topics to be coming up now, it shows a really big move and a big shift into that direction.
My brother came to the convention too. He
Really?
bought his first Bitcoin this year on Binance, and he's also tried out some of the ETF products. So that was cool. Shout out to Kodo. It was great to have him along as well and show him, like, what I work on all year. I promise I'd just sit there and do nothing. What about you, Lando? Like, was there anything that surprised you or stood out, something that you didn't expect?
Yeah, I think I kind of got into this before we started, but what surprised me was how seamless the whole thing was. And I haven't been to, like, a large convention like this before, as I've said. So seeing, like, how perfectly everything flowed from, you know, like, the panel speakers' topics, even just to, like, the actual structure of the event. Like, I mean, where the booths were set up. I know that might seem like a small thing, but running around, you know, interacting with everyone, that all felt like such, like, a seamless experience, just like a flow. And wasn't expecting that at all. Like, sure, there was a bit of organized chaos here and there, but I do think that overall it felt like a really well put together event. And I'm not just saying that because Dave's on with us. I genuinely do think that. So yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing for sure for me.
Awesome. Dave, what's in store for next year? Is there anything you can start to tease for our users?
Not yet. I mean, we're in Sydney again, so we had such a big success and such a good time in Sydney. We are doing Sydney again, so with the ICC again. We've got some plans. We're working on some ideas that hopefully will shock everyone again. Obviously, this year we had a huge, big super yacht after party, and we had a big crypto-themed drone show in the sky. And, you know, it's off the back of the best build we've ever had and the best show we've ever run. It's like, how do you get better? How do you get bigger? So it's back to the drawing board for us to try and achieve that as well. But more than anything, I think we just need to refine it and make the event more and more sophisticated each year. There's only so big you can go, especially in Australia. The venues in Australia, you're not exactly spoilt for choice either for a show of this size. So for us, it's a case of how do we refine it? How do we make it better? How do we make it more accessible? How do we make it more educational? How do we bring more internationals into the market as well? So we've got a really big task ahead of us in terms of bringing some of these big international speakers to Australia in person. So that's going to be another big thing for us as well. It's not a case of making the event bigger. It's just making the event better and more sophisticated and bringing some big names over.
Yeah. And I know we had a discussion about looking to bring more businesses across the ecosystem over next year. you know, some more of the DeFi businesses, some decentralized exchanges, and other kind of different projects would be great to hear from. I think that would be really cool. What about you, Orlando? Like, having seen it this year, like, yeah, what do you think we can do next year as Binance that will really connect with our users again?
Well, I do think we put on a pretty good show this year. I think everything went through and hit actually almost too well. You guys ran us out of merch very, very quickly. So good work on that aspect. I'd love to see a bit more education. Actually, I think we did do very well talking to people, but I think there were a lot of questions around that. And I think as such a large global brand, we're in a very good position to be able to offer some insights. And I think that's definitely a good point of call going forward. Yeah.
More merch is definitely a great call out. But you're right, Dave. We do have to throw some credit out to our local competitor who ran the after party on the yacht. That was an amazing party, and the drone show was absolutely magical. That was the best moment of the weekend, and the dance floor on that yacht was absolutely cooking as well. So that was really, really, really fun. Shout out to a local competitor who will not be named. To run through a couple of our other highlights, obviously having Rachel out was phenomenal. We presented the Community Leader of the Year award to Ben Simon on the Thursday night. So congratulations to Ben. We're going to get him on the pod in the coming weeks if we can as well. We had Rachel's keynote, which was attended by over 400 people, and that session got great feedback. The booth was crazy, really busy. We definitely need more merch for next year, so noted on that one. We had Evan Luthra join us, who is a very decorated crypto investor and global crypto personality. So that was awesome to have him on stage. He shared that as well. He did a fireside chat with us. And then he also had a debate with Greenie, which was really entertaining. Greenie and Evan faced off over day trading versus hodling and what's the best strategy for your crypto portfolio. Then we hosted a few of our other friends on a tax versus gains panel. My boss, James Quinn Kumar, great to score some points with the boss by putting him on a panel. Adam Stokes, Matt from Crypto Tax Sucks, and Patty from Crypto Tax Calculators. That was cool. And then, I jumped on a panel with yourself, Dave, on the Sunday too. So, yeah, heaps of highlights and really overall an absolutely fantastic weekend. Any closing thoughts, lads, before we wrap it up and let people enjoy their Saturday?
Can we fast forward to the next one?
Yeah, I reckon.
No, man, I need at least 12 months, guys. Come on. We got a year's worth of building to do. So, no, look, for me, it's just don't miss out for next year. We're always going to try and exceed expectations, and we're always going to try and build on what we do the year before. And I've absolutely no doubt, and I have full faith in the team that we're going to be able to do this again for next year. And make sure you grab your tickets early while they're a little bit cheaper. And we'll see you guys next year, I guess.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for jumping on, Dave. Thanks for jumping on, Orlando. Let's wrap it up there, and I will catch you guys soon. Stay in touch. And of course, I'll finish with a disclaimer. Please note this discussion includes insights from non-affiliated third parties and key opinion leaders. Binance provides this platform for informational and educational purposes only and isn't responsible for any content or insights provided. This information should not be considered as financial, tax, or investment advice from Binance. If you stuck around till the end, thanks so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, give us some feedback. Let us know who you'd love to see join me on the show, and we'll see you soon, Binance. Have a great weekend.